Today I'm bringing you a complete masterclass on Shotcut, one of the best 100% free video editors available. The great thing about Shotcut is, even though it's free, it comes packed with professional features, the kind you'd usually expect only in paid software. This is going to be a long and detailed tutorial. We will cover everything from setting up the project to adding transitions, text, keyframes, color grading, audio editing, and finally the export settings. So let's dive in. Hey there, I'm Sankita and welcome to Vertical Darts. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe. Now let's start with our first segment, setting up the project. Once you open Shotcut, you will see this interface. By the way, if you don't know how to download and install Shotcut, I recommend watching my video on how to download and install Shotcut on Mac and Windows. You can find link up here and in the description. Now, click in front of the project folder to choose where you want to save your project on your computer. Select the location, then click Open. Give your project a name. I'll call it Demo Project. Now comes an important step, so pay close attention. Under Video Mode, you will see various project setting options. For a standard HD video, the dimensions are 1920 by 1080 with an aspect ratio of 16:9, which is ideal for YouTube videos. So for that, select either HD 1080p 30 fps or HD 1080p 60 fps. If you want to create a 4K video, select either UHD 2160p 30 fps or UHD 2160p 60 fps. The dimensions for 4K videos are 3840 by 2160. If you want to create a vertical video for an Instagram reel or YouTube short, go to No Broadcast and select either Vertical HD 30 fps or Vertical HD 60 fps. Or if you want to create a square video for an Instagram or Facebook post, select Square 1080p 30 fps or 1080p 60 fps. For this video, I'll select 1080p 30 fps. Setting this up at the beginning ensures your video looks perfect when exported. So make sure you choose the right video mode. Then click Start. Next, let's bring our clips, images and audio into Shotcut. You can simply drag and drop your footage here. Or click Open File. Select your files and click Open. If you are using the new version of Shotcut, you can create different folders called bins to organize your footage, saving you a ton of time during editing. To do that, click on these lines, go to Bins and select New Bin. Give it a name. I'll call it B-roll footage. Hit OK. Now you can add your footage to this bin. You can create as many bins as you want. To preview your footage, double-click the clip to view it in the source monitor. Use these little rectangles to select the portion of the clip you want. Or simply press I on your keyboard to set the in point and O to set the out point. Once you have selected the part of the clip you want to use, drag it down to the timeline to begin editing. Before we start trimming and cutting, let's quickly understand the timeline. The timeline is where you will build your video step by step. Each row on the timeline is called a track. Click on these lines, go to track operations, and you can add more audio tracks or video tracks. If you click the eye icon, it will hide or unhide the video. The sound icon will mute or unmute the audio. Now let's start editing. Move the playhead to where you want to trim. Then click the Split at Playhead button, which looks like a little pair of scissors, or simply press S on your keyboard. Delete unwanted parts by selecting them and pressing Delete. If you see gaps, drag the clips together to close them. You can also drag the edges of a clip to trim it shorter or longer. Now let's dive into how you can add transitions in Shotcut to make your videos flow smoothly and look more professional. I will use these clips to demonstrate. The first and simplest transition is the fade in and fade out effect. Hover over the top right corner of the clip and you will notice a small circle. Drag it to the left to create a fade out effect. Similarly, for the next clip, hover over the top left corner, find the circle and drag it to the right for a fade in effect. And there you have it, your fade out and fade in transition. Next, let's create a dissolve transition, one of the most commonly used effects in video editing. To do this, overlap the second clip slightly over the first. Shotcut automatically generates a dissolve transition. The duration of the transition depends on how much the clip overlaps. The smaller the overlap, the quicker the transition. The larger the overlap, the slower it will be. For more transition options, right-click on the transition and select Properties. Here, you will find a variety of effects. You can preview the effect in this window. Test different transitions to see which one works best for your video. Let's try the Matrix Waterfall Vertical transition. If you want to change the transition direction, for example, switching from left to right to left, just check the invert wipe box. If you want to learn how to create custom transition effects, check out my tutorials on creating stylish and cinematic transitions in Shotcut. You can find links in the description. Next, let's see how to add text in Shotcut. I will be using this video as the background. The first way to add text to your video is by using filters. Click on Filters, then click the plus sign and search for text. You will see three main options: text simple, text rich, text simple with gradient background. Let's first try text simple. By default, numbers will appear on the screen. You can replace them with your text here. Click here to change the font. Click here to adjust the text color. I will keep it white for now. Make sure to uncheck the Use Font Size box. If checked, you will need to manually adjust the text size here. When unchecked, resizing and repositioning the text becomes easier. By default, the text has an outline. You can remove it by reducing the thickness to 0. You can also use these presets to adjust the text placement or create motion effects. However, always select the preset first before making other changes, as presets reset all settings to default. To make the text fading gradually, move the playhead to where you want the text to appear. Click the stopwatch icon to create a keyframe. Reduce the opacity to 0. Move a few frames forward and increase the opacity to 100%. This creates a smooth fade-in effect for the text. Now let's try text reach. Type your text here. You will see a toolbar attached to the text box. You can use it to make changes to the text. Change the font. Adjust the size. You can change the color. Again, similar to the previous filter, you can use preset to animate the text. You can collapse or expand the toolbar by clicking these arrows. Now let's try the text simple with the gradient background. This adds two filters to your video, gradient and text simple. I think it will be very useful for subtitles as it provides a clean gradient background. You can adjust the gradient color and its opacity as needed. Now I will show you another way to add text. This is my preferred method as it gives you more control. For that, we will need to add a new video track. Right click, go to Track Operations and select Add Video Track. Then go to Open Other and select Text. I will choose Simple and set the background to transparent. Click Open. Drag and drop the text onto the timeline. Then type your text. Let's quickly adjust its font and size. You will now have the same text simple filter but on a separate track, giving you more flexibility. Now that the text is on a different track, you can animate the text using different filters and keyframes, which I'll show you next. In my other tutorials, I have demonstrated how to create text animations, stylish transitions, and shape animations. All of these were made possible because of keyframes. So it's essential to understand how these keyframes work. For instance, here we have plain text on the video. To make it more engaging, we can add some motion graphics. To do that, we need to add keyframes. Let's first add size, position, and rotate filter to the text. This icon here is called the stopwatch icon. Whenever you see this icon, it means you can animate that effect. You will notice two stopwatch icons here, indicating that you can animate position, size, and zoom, and separately animate rotation effects. Firstly, decide where you want the animation to start. In this case, I will move my cursor 5 frames further and click on the stopwatch icon in front of size, position, and zoom. This creates a diamond-shaped keyframe. By the way, this is my keyframe panel. You generally see this stacked with the timeline panel. But I have separated it for better viewing. So now we have our first keyframe. At this position, we will reduce the text size. If you move the cursor, you will notice nothing happens. To create motion, we need to add another keyframe. I'll move my cursor to the 1 second mark and change the text size, automatically adding another keyframe. Our text now has movement. To make this animation smooth, select the keyframe, right-click and choose Smooth. Let me show you how it makes a difference. Linear animation looks like this. But with smoothing, it looks like this. Notice the difference in the curves. It essentially makes the action smoother. To enhance this text animation, we will add an opacity filter. We want to hide the text initially and then gradually make it visible with the zoom effect. To achieve that, let's move the cursor to the beginning. Then click on the stopwatch icon to create a keyframe. At this position, we will set the opacity to 0 to make our text invisible. Move the cursor to the 10 frame position and change the opacity back to 100%. The effect will look like this. Now to give the text a nice fade out effect, we will revert both effects. Move your cursor to where you want the fade out effect. Select the size position effect. Now pay attention. Here we are just going to create a keyframe without making any changes to the text. To create the keyframe, click on the stopwatch icon located in the keyframes panel, not in the filters panel. If you click on the stopwatch icon in the filters panel, it will remove all previous keyframes. So make sure you click on this icon. This keyframe ensures that the size of the text remains the same as the previous keyframe. Then move your cursor a few frames further and here we will reduce the text size, automatically creating the keyframe. Beginners often make the mistake of not adding this keyframe before making any changes. Let me delete this keyframe. If you make changes at this keyframe's position, see what happens. The text continuously moves. Always remember to add a keyframe here before making any changes. To navigate to the previous or next keyframe's position, you can click on these arrows. Let's go to the second last keyframe's position. Click on opacity. Now click on the stopwatch icon located in the keyframes panel. Move the cursor a few frames further and set the opacity to 0. Next, we will talk about the process of color grading in Shotcut. But before you start color grading your footage, you should first do color correction. This means adjusting the white balance, contrast and exposure in the footage. Let's see how you can do that. I'm going to use this clip to provide you with an example. First, we will adjust the white balance of the clip, which appears to be yellowish. To do this, go to Filters, click on the plus sign and select white balance. The easiest way to adjust the white balance is to select a white object in the scene as a reference. Click on the color picker and select the white object such as the windmill, and it will automatically fix the white balance. Check the before and after look. If there is no white object in the clip, you can select any neutral color. Next, we will open the scope. Click on Wave and go to Scopes. Select Video Waveform. Let me explain how these scopes work. The video waveform shows the exposure of the clip, with 0 representing pure black and 100 representing pure white. The highlights and shadows are in the middle. The goal is to keep the waveform between 0 and 100. If it goes below 0, the image is too dark, and if it exceeds 100, it's overexposed, losing details. The second step in color correction is adjusting the contrast. Click on the plus sign and select the contrast filter. Increase the contrast slightly, but be careful not to clip the whites. Now add the color grading filter. We will not begin color grading yet, but we will use it to make changes in shadows, midtones and highlights. Lower the shadows to add darkness to the footage. Aim to bring it down near 0. We can adjust the highlights a bit, but it's already close to 100. We will lower the midtones slightly. Observe the before and after changes. Next, open another scope, which is the video vector. It displays the colors in the footage. Our objective is to keep it as close to the center as possible to achieve balance. We also want to avoid crossing these lines, otherwise the colors will start clipping. Add another filter, which is the hue, lightness and saturation. Increase the saturation slightly. Now our footage looks good and is well color corrected. How can you tell? Look at the scopes. The footage has good contrast and the colors are balanced in the video vector. Now let's add one more color grading filter, and this time we will try to achieve a cinematic color style. Let me close the video waveform tab to get more room. We aim to get the famous teal and orange cinematic style. Because teal and orange colors are opposite on the color wheel, they look good together and contrast well. Blues and teals are for shadows, while oranges and yellows are highlights. Let's add teal to the shadows as well as to the midtones. Then we will add orange to the highlights. I'll go to the hue, lightness and saturation filter and increase the saturation a bit to make it more vibrant. And there you have it. Compare the before and after changes. Now we will move on to the audio editing. Always remember, when you edit your video, make sure to pay attention to the audio too. I have my video clip here. You can see the audio waveform, which means the audio is currently attached to the video. The first thing I like to do is to put the audio on a separate audio track. To do that, right-click on the clip and select Detach Audio. It will automatically create a new audio track and place the audio separately. Now play the video and check the audio peak meter. Today I'll show you how to create an auto resizing text box using After Effects. It's super useful, especially if you see red popping up. That means the audio volume is too high at that point. It's peaking and that's not good for the ears. Ideally, your audio should peak in the yellow zone. I would recommend keeping it around -6 decibels. To lower the volume, you can use an audio filter. Click on Filters, hit the plus sign, and if you select Audio, you will see a list of audio filters. Let's try the Gain Volume filter. With this one, you can simply raise or lower the volume. That helps fix any peaking issues. Auto resizing text box using After Effects is super useful, especially when working on lower thirds. Make sure to watch until the end, as I'll also share some but we don't want to do that because usually we don't speak at a consistent volume. Some words are louder, some are softer. To bring all those levels closer together, we will use a different filter. Let's remove the previous filter and add the limiter filter. This one gives us more control over the audio levels. Now we can set a limit on how loud the audio can get. I'll set it around here. Then we will raise the quieter parts using input gain. Since we have set a ceiling, the audio won't peak anymore. I'll show you how to create an auto resizing text box using After Effects. It's super useful, especially when working on lower thirds. Make sure to watch until the end, as I'll also share some important tips you need to know. Now the audio sounds nicely balanced. And this is the right way to edit your audio. This is super useful when editing interviews. If the one person is louder and the other is softer, the limiter helps balance their audio levels. Another thing I want to point out is to check out for any breathing sounds or filler words like or in the audio. For example, I have a noticeable breath sound at the start of this clip. Let's remove it. Today I'll show you how to add the gain volume filter. Move your playhead to the end of that sound. Then click the stopwatch icon to create a keyframe. Now move the playhead just before that point and add another keyframe. Then drag the second keyframe down. This will reduce the volume of just that portion. Today I'll show you to remove unwanted sound in the middle of a clip. You will need 4 keyframes. Say I want to remove this part right here. I'll add 2 keyframes at the start of the sound. Then move to the end and add 2 more. Now I'll drag the second and third keyframes down, creating a dip in the waveform. That section will now play much quieter. It's super. Once your edit is ready, it's time to export. Click on Export. You will also find the export option in the menu bar at the top. On your left hand side, you will see all the presets options. You can select H.264 main profile. It will create an MP4 video file with all the dimensions and settings you set at the beginning. When you click on the Advanced tab, you will see all the details. The file format will be MP4. The dimensions will be 1920 by 1080 with an aspect ratio of 16 by 9. The frames per second will be 24. Keep the other settings as they are. Click on Audio. The sample rate will be 48,000 Hz, which is a standard audio setting. Then click on Export File and save it wherever you want to save it. You can also choose the YouTube option. It will create the same MP4 file, but it will be slightly compressed, resulting in a smaller file size with some quality loss. If you have set your project with vertical dimensions, select the same H.264 main profile to export the vertical video. That's why I recommend setting the project with the correct dimensions or settings from the beginning, as you can't change them during export. Technically, you can change them, but you won't get the desired quality. If you want to export your video with a transparent background, choose QuickTime Animation. It will create a .mov file. I typically use this for exporting lower third animations. If you only want to export audio, select either MP3 or WAV format. Both are commonly used for podcasts. MP3 files are generally smaller and load faster, but they lose some audio quality due to compression. WAV files are larger and take up more storage space, but they offer better audio quality. If you want to export any image, you can choose either JPEG or PNG file formats. Both are frequently used online. However, JPEGs use a lossy compression process, meaning some data is permanently deleted to reduce file size. PNGs, on the other hand, use lossless compression, which means no data is lost. So, PNG images have better quality than JPEG. Additionally, PNGs support transparent backgrounds, whereas JPEGs do not. And that's it. You have now learned everything from project setup to advanced editing in Shotcut. If you found this video helpful, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.